The holographic projector flickers to life in the Jedi Council chambers, casting an eerie blue glow across the weathered faces of the assembled masters. Another casualty report from the Outer Rim. Another 1,000 clone troopers dead. Another system lost to the relentless advance of Separatist forces. Anakin Skywalker stands at rigid attention, his mechanical hand clenched into a fist as Master Windu delivers the briefing with the cold detachment of a medical examiner reading autopsy results. The 501st will redeploy to Ryloth immediately. Intelligence suggests a major Separatist buildup in the northern sectors. Intelligence suggests that we're throwing more good men into a meat grinder. The chamber falls silent. You could hear a pin drop on Coruscant's lower levels. Master Yoda's ears twitch, sensing the disturbance rippling through the Force like shockwaves from a seismic charge. Excuse me, General Skywalker? Rex lost half his company last week following that same intelligence. Fives is in the medical bay with third-degree burns covering 60% of his body. Echo's been having nightmares for 3 straight months. And for what? So we can hold some worthless rock in the middle of nowhere for another month before the clankers take it back? Anakin, your frustration is understandable, but we must trust in the process. The process? Master, the process is broken. The Senate debates while good men die. The Separatists scheme while we follow orders like droids. When did we stop being peacekeepers and become just another cog in the Republic's war machine? The tension in the room is thick enough to cut with a lightsaber. Master Yoda closes his ancient eyes, feeling the anger radiating from his former student like heat from a forge about to explode. Clouded by emotion, your judgment is, young Skywalker. Meditate on this, you must. I've meditated, Master Yoda. I've meditated while watching clone troopers, men with names, with hopes, with dreams, get cut down because we're too noble to end this war decisively. I've meditated while politicians play games with people's lives. He turns toward the exit, his dark robes billowing behind him like storm clouds. Maybe it's time I stopped meditating and started acting. The door slams shut behind him with a finality that echoes through the Force itself. 3 days later, Anakin finds himself on Concordia, officially investigating reports of Separatist weapon shipments to Death Watch terrorists. But as his Republic shuttle touches down in the abandoned mining complex, he knows he's really here to think, to escape the suffocating weight of Jedi expectations and political maneuvering. The moon's surface is scarred by decades of mining operations, a wasteland of industrial decay that mirrors his own state of mind. He walks alone through the empty corridors, his footsteps echoing in the darkness. The attack comes without warning. Death Watch warriors emerge from the shadows like ghosts, their distinctive blue and silver armor gleaming under the artificial lights. Blaster fire erupts around him, red bolts searing the air, but something feels different about this assault. These aren't the desperate, chaotic attacks he's grown used to fighting against battle droids. This is coordinated, professional, deadly. Anakin's lightsaber ignites with its familiar snap hiss, the blue blade casting dancing shadows on the walls as he deflects the oncoming fire. But instead of advancing aggressively as he normally would, he finds himself watching, studying their movements, their tactics, their discipline. These aren't terrorists, they're soldiers. Stand down! The firing stops instantly. The Death Watch leader steps forward, removing his distinctive helmet to reveal a scarred face and calculating eyes that have seen too much war. Jedi, you fight well, but you fight restrained. I fight to protect, not to conquer. And how's that working for you? The question hangs in the recycled air like smoke from a blaster barrel. Anakin deactivates his lightsaber but doesn't holster it, his eyes never leaving Vizsla's face. I've been watching this war, Skywalker, watching how the Republic uses its Jedi. You're not protectors, you're weapons, pointed at whatever target the politicians choose, fired when convenient, discarded when broken. The Jedi serve the Republic, we serve peace. The Jedi serve the Senate. There's a difference, a big one. Vizsla gestures to his warriors, who lower their weapons but remain ready to fight. Their discipline is impressive, the kind that comes from years of training together, bleeding together, surviving together. We Mandalorians serve no one but ourselves, our families, our clans, our Alit. When we fight, it's for something that actually matters, not for some politician's approval rating or corporate profit margin. You're terrorists, you bomb civilians. We're survivors, and we're free. When's the last time you could say the same? The words hit harder than any blaster bolt. Anakin feels something crack inside his chest, not his ribs, but something deeper. Something he's been trying to ignore for months. Tell me, Jedi, when you go to sleep at night, do you dream of the men you've lost following orders you knew were wrong? Do you wake up wondering how many more will die tomorrow because you were too noble to do what needed to be done? Anakin's silence is answer enough. That night, aboard his Republic cruiser in orbit around Concordia, Anakin stares out at the stars through the viewport of his quarters. The vastness of space usually brings him peace, but tonight it feels empty, cold, indifferent to the suffering below. Vizsla's words echo in his mind, mixing with memories he's tried to suppress. Rex carrying the body of Hardcase after Umbara. Fives screaming as the medical droids worked to save his life. the look in Ahsoka's eyes when she told him she was leaving the Order. His comlink chirps softly, a message from Padme, transmitted from Coruscant. The Senate voted to extend the Chancellor's emergency powers again. Palpatine says it's necessary for the war effort, but Anakin, I'm scared. Not of the Separatists, of what we're becoming to fight them. The Republic I grew up believing in is disappearing, piece by piece, vote by vote. The hologram flickers and dies, leaving him alone with his thoughts and the weight of a galaxy at war. Through the Force, he reaches out across the stars, feeling the familiar presences of his fellow Jedi scattered across countless battlefields. Obi-Wan on Utapau, tired and worn down by months of siege warfare. Ahsoka on Shili, her bright spirit dimmed by the horrors she's witnessed. Master Yoda on Coruscant, carrying the weight of 1,000 impossible decisions on his ancient shoulders. All of them trapped, all of them serving a system that seems to create more suffering than it prevents. All of them slowly losing pieces of themselves to a war that never seems to end. But there, on the edge of his perception, he senses something else. The Mandalorians on Concordia below. Their emotions are different, cleaner somehow. Purpose without politics. Loyalty without compromise. Honor without hypocrisy. For the first time in months, Anakin Skywalker allows himself to imagine what freedom might feel like. The next morning brings new orders, delivered with the mechanical efficiency that has come to define the Republic war machine. The 501st is to assault a heavily fortified Separatist stronghold on Malastare. Intelligence estimates heavy casualties, acceptable losses according to the Senate Military Committee, but the system is considered strategically vital to the war effort. Anakin stands in the main hangar bay of his Star Destroyer, watching his men prepare for another bloody campaign. Clone troopers check their weapons, load ammunition, and say goodbye to brothers they might never see again. The ritual has become as familiar as breathing, and just as automatic. Captain Rex approaches, his distinctive blue-striped armor bearing fresh scorch marks from their last engagement on Felucia. His helmet is tucked under his arm, revealing a face marked by exhaustion and the kind of loss that ages a man beyond his years. The boys are ready, General. Though I won't lie, morale's been better. We lost a lot of good men on Felucia, and the replacements are still green. Rex, do you ever wonder what we're really fighting for anymore? The clone captain pauses, considering the question with the seriousness it deserves. He'd been fighting this war since the beginning, and seen more death and destruction than any man should have to witness. Every day, sir, but I figure as long as we're fighting together, for each other, that's enough. My brothers are what matter to me. Everything else is just politics. What if it's not enough anymore? What if the system we're fighting for is just as corrupt as the one we're fighting against? Before Rex can respond, Anakin's personal comlink activates with an encrypted signal. The holographic projector displays the distinctive helmet of Pre Vizsla, the Death Watch leader's voice distorted by military-grade scramblers. Skywalker, I have a proposition for you. Rex's hand instinctively moves towards his sidearm, but Anakin waves him off. I'm listening. There's a Separatist convoy moving through the Mandalore system in 6 hours. 3 heavy cruisers loaded with weapons and medical supplies bound for their forces on Ryloth. Help us intercept it, and we'll share whatever intelligence we gather. Plus, you get to save some Republic lives by keeping those weapons out of Separatist hands. Why would Death Watch help the Republic? Last I checked, you weren't exactly fans of our government. We're not helping the Republic, Skywalker, we're helping you. There's a difference, a big one. Anakin looks at Rex, then at his men preparing for another costly assault on a fortified position. Good soldiers who deserve better than to be thrown into a meat grinder for political gain. What do you want in return? A conversation, nothing more. One warrior to another. General, this could be a trap. Death Watch isn't exactly known for their trustworthiness. Maybe not, but right now they're offering us a chance to actually accomplish something meaningful instead of just following orders that'll get more of our people killed. He makes his decision with the kind of split-second timing that has kept him alive through 3 years of war. Send me the coordinates, Vizsla, but if this is a setup, you'll find out why they call me the hero with no fear. Wouldn't dream of it, Jedi. See you in 6 hours. The joint operation is unlike anything Anakin has experienced in his years as a Republic general. The Mandalorians fight with a precision and ferocity that puts even his elite clone troopers to shame. And there's something else, something that takes him a while to identify. They fight with joy. Not the bloodthirsty savagery of Sith warriors or the cold efficiency of battle droids, but the pure, uncomplicated joy of warriors doing what they were born to do. Each victory is celebrated with fierce grins behind their helmets. Each fallen enemy is acknowledged with the respect due to a worthy opponent. As they board the captured Separatist heavy cruiser, Anakin finds himself fighting alongside warriors who see combat not as a grim necessity or political tool, but as an art form, a way of life, a sacred trust between brothers and sisters in arms. Not bad for a Jedi. The red-haired Mandalorian warrior grins as she plants thermal detonators on the ship's reactor core, her movements efficient and deadly. Her armor bears the scars of 100 battles, each mark a story of survival and victory. Not bad for a terrorist. Terrorist, freedom fighter, warrior, labels change depending on who's writing the history books. What matters is what you fight for, not what other people call you. They fight their way through the ship's corridors toward the main data core, Separatist battle droids falling before their combined assault like wheat before a scythe. When they reach the heavily secured computer center, Anakin uses the Force to slice through security systems that would likely take conventional hackers hours to breach. The Mandalorians watch with fascination rather than fear as blast doors crumple like paper and electronic locks surrender to his will. Impressive, but you're still holding back. I'm being precise, controlled. You're being afraid of your own power, afraid of what you might become if you let yourself truly fight. As they escape the exploding Separatist vessel in their respective ships, Anakin realizes Vizsla is right. For the first time in months, he fought without restraint, without constantly calculating political consequences or worrying about Jedi doctrine. He fought like a warrior instead of a weapon, and it felt liberating. Back on Concordia, in the depths of the Death Watch stronghold carved into the moon's rocky core, Pre-Vizsla shows Anakin something that changes everything. The war room is filled with holographic displays, tactical readouts, and intelligence reports that paint a picture of the galaxy-wide conflict from a perspective Anakin has never seen before. Your Chancellor has been playing both sides from the beginning, Skywalker, prolonging the war, accumulating power, using the Jedi as his personal army while he transforms the Republic into something else entirely. The evidence is overwhelming and damning. Financial records showing Republic credits flowing to Separatist accounts, communication logs revealing coordinated strategies designed to maximize casualties on both sides, strategic decisions that make no sense unless viewed through the lens of deliberate manipulation and political theater. The Council, they have to know about this. They have to see what's really happening. Do they? Or are they so invested in the system, so committed to their role as the Republic's guardians, that they can't see its corruption? Sometimes the people closest to the problem are the last ones to recognize it. Anakin thinks of Master Windu's unwavering loyalty to the Republic, of Yoda's faith in the democratic process, of Obi-Wan's absolute belief that the Jedi way is always the right way. Good men, all of them, but trapped by their own righteousness. The Jedi Code teaches you to serve others, to put the needs of the many before your own desires. Noble, in theory, but what happens when the system you're serving is corrupt? When the many you're protecting are being manipulated by the few? What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting you have a choice, Skywalker. Continue serving a corrupt system because it's what you've always done, or forge your own path. Make your own decisions. Fight for what you believe in, not what politicians tell you to believe in. The Mandalorian way isn't about serving others blindly, it's about protecting what matters to you, your family, your clan, your principles. Everything else is just noise. And what if what matters to me is ending this war, bringing peace to the galaxy? Then end it, but do it as a free man, not as a slave to politics and bureaucracy. Do it because it's right, not because someone ordered you to do it. The words resonate in Anakin's chest like a deep thrumming note of a temple bell. For the first time in years, he feels something he almost forgotten existed. Hope. The message Anakin sends to the Jedi Council 3 days later is brief and to the point. Masters, I can no longer serve a system that perpetuates the very suffering it claims to prevent. I renounce my position as a general in the Grand Army of the Republic and withdraw from active service. The 501st will be transferred to General Kenobi's command. I pray that one day you will understand. May the Force be with you all. The response comes within hours. Obi-Wan's hologram materializes in the Mandalorian stronghold, his face a mask of concern, disappointment, and barely controlled emotion. Anakin, what have you done? What I should have done months ago, Master. I've chosen freedom over servitude. You've chosen exile over duty. The Council is prepared to overlook this episode if you return immediately. And if I don't, then you'll be branded a deserter, a traitor to everything we've fought for. Maybe what we've been fighting for was wrong from the beginning, Master. The hologram flickers as Obi-Wan struggles with his emotions. The dark side clouds your judgment, my old Padawan. No, Master. For the first time in years, I can see clearly. Over the following months, Anakin Skywalker disappears, and something new emerges in his place. The Mandalorians call him Al-Arad, the Captain. He leads their raids with a combination of Jedi skill and Mandalorian ruthlessness that makes him legendary across the Outer Rim. But he doesn't simply adopt their ways, he transforms them. Under his guidance, Death Watch evolves from a terrorist organization into something resembling a legitimate military force. They strike at both Republic and Separatist targets, always choosing objectives that serve the greater good rather than political advantage. You're changing us. You're changing me too. They stand on the observation deck of their captured Republic cruiser, now painted in Mandalorian colors, watching as their fleet prepares for another mission. The clans are starting to take notice. Some are calling you the Mandalore, who will unite our people. I'm not Mandalorian. Neither was Tare Vizsla when he first picked up the Darksaber. Being Mandalorian isn't about blood, it's about choice. As the Clone Wars rage on, Anakin's Mandalorian forces became a third faction, one that both Republic and Separatist leaders must account for in their strategies. His intimate knowledge of Jedi tactics and Republic military doctrine make him invaluable to those seeking to counter both sides. But he's not simply a mercenary. Each mission serves a larger purpose, protecting civilian populations, disrupting supply lines that fuel the war machine, eliminating leaders who profit from the conflict. The galaxy begins to whisper of the Jedi Mandalorian, a figure who fights with lightsaber and blaster, who commands through respect rather than fear, who serves no master but his own conscience.
Skywalker, I heard you found new employment. I found purpose, Dooku, something you wouldn't understand. Oh, but I do. The Jedi failed you, just as they failed me. Join me and together we can bring order to this chaos. Your order is built on oppression. I've seen what freedom looks like. Freedom? You've simply traded one master for another. The difference is I chose this master, and I choose to leave whenever I want. The war's end comes not through grand battles or political maneuvering, but through exhaustion. Both sides, bled dry by years of conflict and harassed by Mandalorian raids, agree to a ceasefire that slowly transforms into an uneasy peace. In the aftermath, as the galaxy struggles to rebuild, the Mandalorian clans gather on their homeworld for the first time in generations. The reason? To choose a new Mandalore. The clans have spoken. They want you to lead them. Anakin stands before the assembled warriors, the weight of their expectations pressing down on him like gravity. In his hands, he holds the Darksaber, the ancient weapon of Mandalorian rulers, won in single combat against Vizsla himself. I'm honored, but I need time to consider what kind of leader you truly need. What's to consider? You've proven yourself in battle. You've united the clans. You've given us purpose. I've given you war. The question is, what can I give you in peace? That night, alone in the ancient halls of the Mandalorian palace, Anakin meditates for the first time in months. Through the Force, he reaches out across the galaxy, feeling the currents of change that flow in the war's wake. 3 paths stretch before him: embrace the warrior's way and forge a Mandalorian empire, seek redemption and work to heal the galaxy's wounds, or choose a darker route and carve out his own dominion through conquest. I wondered if I'd find you here. Padme, how did you... Bo-Katan sent word. She thought you might need perspective. And what perspective is that? That power without purpose is just destruction, and purpose without compassion is just another form of tyranny. Then I choose a 4th path. Not the warrior king they expect, not the Jedi I want, but something new. A protector who serves by choice, not by code. The next morning, Anakin Skywalker accepts the title of Mandalore, but on his own terms. He'll lead the Mandalorians not as conquerors, but as guardians of the galaxy's forgotten corners. Where the Republic and its successor fail to protect the innocent, where corruption takes root, where freedom needs defending, there the Mandalorians will stand. In choosing the Mandalorian way, Anakin Skywalker found something the Jedi Code never offered him: the freedom to choose his own destiny, to protect what mattered to him, and to forge a legacy not built on blind obedience, but on conscious choice. That's our story. The Star Wars universe is a galaxy filled with exciting stories and possibilities, and we love exploring them. If you want to accompany us on this journey to a galaxy far, far away, then please like, share, and subscribe to the channel.